What's up, guys? Welcome to the Sportology Podcast. I'm Jack Rothenberg, one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined by my partner, Matthew Kapsidis.
How's it going, guys? Excited to get this first episode going. Jack, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so today we'll be talking a little NFL. We'll review Week 10 and then preview Week 11, then talk about playoff positioning for different teams, who we think is going to make the playoffs. After that, we'll get into our fantasy league. As we said in the intro, me and Matthew are both in a 10-man league, PPR, with a bunch of our school friends, so we'll get into that. Maybe a little playoff push positioning for our own fantasy league. And then Matthew will talk a little bit about the Caps. We'll both talk a little Redskins, maybe Washington sports as a whole. We'll see what happens with that, but let's get it started with the NFL. Talk a little Week 10. Matthew, what caught your eye?
Well, so on Thursday I went to one of my friend's house and watched the Raiders game. We thought it was a pretty interesting game, but overall, I mean, let's talk about how the Chargers have a good team and good look at the start of the season, but they're not putting things together. What do you think is going on in that game?
Yeah, after last year, they had what? They were 11-5, I think, something like that. Come back, now they're 4-6, lose to the Raiders. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a topic that many people are arguing right now because they have the talent to do it, but they're just not putting the strings together. I mean, credit to the Raiders. I mean, John Gruden's done a great job over there putting the team together with losing their main asset, Antonio Brown, at the beginning of the season with all that drama. But still, I think on Thursday the Chargers just couldn't do it. Phillip Rivers, how many terrible interceptions that he threw?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was mainly Melvin Gordon being out is why they got off to such a slow start, but they were missing something. And even with Melvin Gordon back, they're still struggling. Phillip Rivers had 3 interceptions on Thursday night, only threw for 207 passing yards. And I don't know about you, but I think they're mainly a passing team. They use Austin Eckler mainly in the pass game. He only had 6 carries on Thursday night with 207 yards from basically your whole offense, I would say, behind Phillip Rivers. I don't think that's just not going to get it done.
Yeah, well, the Chargers recently fired their offensive coordinator, and apparently it was because Melvin Gordon wasn't getting the ball enough. And we saw on Thursday night, Austin Eckler didn't do anything for one of the first games. I mean, he scored a touchdown, but it was a very short 6-yard touchdown.
It was really late.
Very late in the game. But we saw that Melvin Gordon was really using the play calling on Thursday night, and maybe they're just it was a week that they needed to figure out what they need to do to get Melvin Gordon the ball and how they can figure out how to not just pass the ball all the time.
I kind of disagree with you there, though. I understand the firing of the offensive coordinator and all that, trying to give Melvin Gordon the ball more. He had 22 carries on Thursday night. Phillip Rivers still threw the ball 31 times, but they still come up short. I don't know what's going on. I just think they're not as good of a team as they were last year. Their weapons are basically the same. Still have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They did lose Tyrell Williams, who is on Oakland. So it's a bit of a revenge game for him, even though he didn't really do much.
I mean, I would put the most of the blame on Phillip Rivers as of right now. I mean, like you said, Melvin Gordon carries the ball 22 times and Phillip Rivers throws the ball 31 times. I mean, they're obviously doing both throwing and running the ball, but you look at 3 interceptions for Phillip Rivers, you can't have 17 completions out of 31 and have 3 interceptions in that category. I mean, it's just not good enough, and we saw over Thursday night that most of those interceptions were just terrible throws.
They were awful. And he also had a fumble, so that's 4 turnovers just from Phillip Rivers. 57.5 passer rating. It's just not going to get it done these days. You see Derek Carr had a better passer rating than him at 98.6. I thought coming into this year that Phillip Rivers would be better than Derek Carr. It's just not how it's playing out. I think we can both agree that most of this blame is going to fall onto Phillip Rivers' shoulders. So
yeah, for sure.
Next question about that game: do we think the Raiders are going to make the playoffs? They sit at 5-4. they're right in the playoff push for that wild card spot.
Even though a good win against a Chargers team that's struggling right now, I would say that I still don't feel confident enough and haven't seen enough from the Raiders to truly get them into the playoffs. But I mean, they're definitely on a week to week lookout on to see if they're gonna do well. I mean, they got a pretty easy schedule. Other than it's kind of a mediocre schedule. They have the next 2 games are Bengals, Jets.
Should be 2 wins. If they're trying to make the playoffs, those should both be wins.
Yeah, they have to be. They're must-win games if they're looking at the playoffs. And then they start to get a bumpy road when they play the Chiefs and then the Titans, Jaguars, who've showed that they're a pretty good team. Chargers again. We'll see if Chargers can figure things out in the next couple of weeks, see if they're a good team when they play them week 15. And then they finish off with the Broncos week 16, which Broncos are another team that just I don't know what's going on, if they're good or bad every week.
Yeah.
It's a different story.
I think if Oakland's going to be a playoff team, they need to win 5 out of 7 of those games. The 2 losses can come to the Titans and Chiefs, so the Titans are capable of beating good teams, so I'll give them that loss. They need to be able to beat the Jaguars, beat the Chargers once again if they want to make the playoffs. So next game we're going to talk about from Week 10 is the Lions and the Bears. Boy, is Mitch Trubisky bad. He could be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
I mean, it's just crazy. I think it also comes down to, we saw at the beginning of the season that first game of the season, Bears-Packers, absolutely terrible show. It was good on the defensive side, but offensive side,
I came to your house for that game. We sat there.
Yeah,
and we were
even,
like,
even Aaron Rodgers
watching?
wasn't doing good, but Mitch Trubisky has been from day one. He's been on the lookout by the Bears fans. They really love giving him shit because, I mean, the Bears, since last year, they had a great defense, and all they've been looking for is one quarterback that can sort of carry the. They don't even have to play great offense. They got such a good defense, they can rely on their defense. But, I mean, when you're 16 for 23, only 173 yards, I mean, threw 3 touchdowns, but. Jeez, like they're not throwing the ball at all. If you're in Mitch Trubisky's shoes, like what are you feeling? You think that the play calling is, I mean, you have to do it because he's obviously not too great, but
I mean,
how would you feel?
They did say that they're trying to run the ball more, so that's a message being sent to Mitch Trubisky. They don't believe he can throw the ball down the field.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Complete passes. Even though they did win this game 20-13, the Lions did have their backup quarterback, Jeff Driscoll, in because Matthew Stafford had a back issue early Sunday morning. But that's really no excuse. If they have their backup quarterback in, and the Bears being the high-caliber playoff team that they were last year, basically returning most of their players, they should be able to blow out the Lions. And Dave Montgomery, who they said they're giving more carries to, got 17 carries, which is a good amount of carries, only put up 60 yards. That's 3.5 yards per carry. I don't think they can beat a legit team. I don't think they can.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, the Lions with Matthew Stafford, I mean, we saw a couple of weeks ago that the Lions got a little cheated on one of their losses to the Packers. They've got a couple unfortunate results. I mean, I don't think the Lions are too bad of a team with Matthew Stafford, and that the Bears are struggling with them. We got to think about, like, are they even going to push for a wild card spot? Because the Packers look like they're easily going to take that division with how good Aaron Rodgers is playing.
The Vikings are right behind them. So
exactly.
That division's wrapped up.
Yeah,
so the Bears got to figure something out quick. But the Ravens do not. Lamar Jackson, I don't know if he's the best quarterback in the league, but he's definitely the most exciting.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we all know what player we're about to talk about. I don't even know how long he's run. Yeah, 40-yard run, spin move, looking like prime RG3, but not actually getting injured.
Yep.
He's definitely proved to the haters. I mean, we saw last week when they played the Patriots, everybody shut up about the Ravens being all talk and Lamar Jackson not being able to throw the ball. I mean, Bill Belichick obviously gave a great scouting report, didn't let Lamar Jackson run that much, but Lamar Jackson proved that he had an arm and he could throw the ball and pressure and stay in the pocket. But, yeah, the Ravens are looking like a great team. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, he's silencing the haters. Last year, everyone was saying, oh, he's not a true quarterback. He can't throw the ball down the field. He's proving everyone wrong this year. He's doing that in dramatic fashion. He's, through 16 career starts, he's more rushing yards than LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah. I also think that, like, last year, a lot of the critics would have said that, like, yeah, Lamar Jackson's doing all right, but the defense was the main point that people kept saying, oh, their defense is really good, their defense is really good. But this year, the Ravens' defense, I mean, especially when they played the Browns in, week 3, the defense gave up so many points to the Browns who are struggling right now, by the way. But so, yeah, I think Lamar Jackson's really silenced the critics. I think he's finally gained respect in the league, and we'll see where he takes it.
Yeah, so the Ravens took that game 49-13. And like I said earlier, through 16 career starts, his numbers are off the charts. He has more career wins than Patrick Mahomes. He's 13. Patty Mahomes is 12. Like I said, more rushing yards than LaDainian Tomlinson. He's a better passer rating than Tom Brady. More yards per attempt than Aaron Rodgers. And a better completion percentage than Drew Brees. That's some pretty good company.
I mean, in your opinion, who would you rather watch, Mahomes or Lamar Jackson? I mean, I think they're both electrifying. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is more of a runner than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes loves to do those no-look passes.
Did you see the jump pass he did?
Yeah, I saw the jump pass too. But in your opinion, who would you rather watch if you could go to a game? Would you go to a Ravens game or a Chiefs game to watch one of those quarterbacks?
It would depend on the matchup, obviously. But
of course, yeah.
Right
Bear in
now,
mind that they're playing the same team. Let's say they're playing the Patriots.
All right, I think I'd go with the Ravens.
You think so?
Lamar Jackson, he's just exciting. They were playing the Bengals, worst team in the NFL. I still watched that game a little because it was Lamar Jackson playing. He's just a very exciting player. Even though Patrick Mahomes is more exciting, or not more exciting, he's exciting.
Yeah.
I've watched him for a whole year. I haven't really watched Lamar Jackson that much. And Patrick Mahomes, he's doing this every week. Lamar Jackson is just starting to do this.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Do you think it's just the hype right now? You think if he continues to do this, it'll be kind of like Patrick Mahomes? Because Patrick Mahomes last year was all the talk, like Lamar Jackson was. You think Lamar Jackson's going to settle down? And, I mean, he might do the same performances, but it might look like it's just like every week kind of thing, like Patrick Mahomes puts up like 235.
Yeah, I think that's mainly what it is. Lamar Jackson is just... He's so good.
Yeah, so much fun to watch.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Chiefs-Titans game. Titans took it 35-32 off a blocked field goal in the last couple seconds. Derrick Henry had a great game, 23 carries, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, as usual, 446 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's crazy to say it's his usual.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, he's been back a couple weeks now.
Finally started to show,
yeah,
back to his old way. Yeah. 11 receptions, 157 yards with a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the Tennessee side, though. Derrick Henry's finally come alive. They've realized how much he's worth to their franchise and how they should use him. I mean, I would say this year they haven't used him the way that they've used him last year, and it's kind of hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, I was surprised when they got rid of DeMarco Murray the other year. I think it was 1 or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But now I clearly see their vision. They're just all in on that running back spot with Derrick Henry just feeding him basically all the carries. I think they might still have Deion Lewis there, but
yeah,
Derrick Henry is really just getting the whole load.
So you watched this game, right? The 32 or the Kansas City game?
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you think Tannehill looked?
Ryan Tannehill? Oh,
yeah.
He played amazing. I don't know if you watched the game, but on that last drive, there was a 3rd and 10. He took on 2 defenders, carried them for the first down. He wanted this game so badly. They took the lead 33-32 in the last couple minutes. I don't know the exact time, but they went for 2 to push it to a three-point lead, which ended up being the final score, 35-32. But he once again ran the ball and took on 2 defenders and just fell into the end zone.
I think
played like a beast.
I think this week he showed what the Dolphins had seen in him when they first drafted him in whatever year it was.
It also shows that it was a great move for them to bench Mariota finally.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was one of the people questioning that move. You know, I was a big Mariota fan in Oregon. I mean, I think the kid played good last year, but I guess they see something in practice that we haven't seen until this week. Ryan Tannehill did play great the whole game.
Well, so in that draft class, it was Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. I think they went 1 and 2 in that draft class.
Yeah.
And the only good thing that's happened to either of them was Marcus Mariota beating the Chiefs in that game. a couple years ago in the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was a crazy game, but that's the only thing I can.
Yeah, I guess
I
guess everybody's holding on to that because I've seen a lot of people questioning why Mariota isn't playing. But again, I think maybe the hype of that game and the hype of him in college has been like the only thing showing. So good move on the Titans and the Titans organization putting him in. I think it's paid off obviously with 1 week. But the Chiefs have taken 2 losses to. They took a loss to the Lions, and now they're taking a loss to the Titans. What are you thinking about the Chiefs? Do you think their defense is, in the long run, not going to be good enough for?
I don't know about specifically their defense. Last year, if you told me that a team was playing the Chiefs, I'd tell you that they were going to lose. Right now,
Yeah,
I don't think anyone's scared of them. Not even just scared. I think anyone can beat them. You see the Titans; they were 4-5 coming in this game. I bet you every analyst picked the Chiefs to easily win.
For sure.
You see the Titans just not whoop them, but they were with them every step of the way and finally pull away at the end. So I think not that the Chiefs are in trouble, but they have some things to figure out there.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think that's a trend for Week 10. I mean, let's go to the Falcons game. Falcons beating the Saints 26-9. What did you watch that game?
I did watch that game. It wasn't pretty on the Saints side. Even though Michael Thomas had over 150 yards receiving, they just couldn't punch in the end zone, settle for 3 field goals. And I was talking to someone today at school, and it's the Saints have played well 7 or 8 weeks this year. This is, I think, their first real loss because their only other loss came to the Rams in the game that Breeze got hurt.
Yep.
So are you going to believe the team that we've seen play well for 7 weeks or think that this is their new team after only losing 1 game? I think it was just an off week for them. They'll come back next week.
I would have to agree. Well. I mean, I think Atlanta's one of the most inconsistent teams I've watched this year. I mean, starting off the season, they got a couple losses. Like the Eagles loss was a tough one. Actually, no, they ended up winning that game, didn't they? The Eagles game? Yeah, so they won that game. But yeah, I think they've had an off year and they're very inconsistent. I mean, Matt Ryan's shown 2 sides of him. The Matt Ryan that we've seen, the very consistent Matt Ryan. And then we've also seen Matt Ryan where he just can't find one of his own guys in the end zone.
Like we were saying about the Saints, we don't think that they're going to be a worse team going forward, but they do play the Bucs next week. You never know what you're going to get out of the Bucs. With Jameis Winston, he's a turnover machine, but he can also go off for 4 touchdowns. Yeah. You just never know. So they could easily lose that game. I would just keep an eye out for that. I don't think they'll lose that game.
Neither do I.
But like we saw with the Chiefs, I feel like anyone can beat anyone on any day.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about one more NFL game. I think the last one we should talk about is Panthers-Packers, right?
Yeah, we can talk about the Panthers-Packers game. Also, I want to go on the Seahawks-49ers game to end it off. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so there was the Packers. The Packers played the Panthers. Final score was 24-16 Packers. Came down to the last play where the Panthers gave it to Christian McCaffrey on the 1-yard line, got stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you see in that game?
I honestly didn't watch that game, so I can't tell you what I saw, but I have seen in the last couple of weeks that Aaron Rodgers has shown MVP Aaron Rodgers, but this week he didn't play necessarily bad, but 17 for 29 isn't particularly great, and 0 touchdowns. That's got to show that Aaron Jones really has taken a big role in this Green Bay team with 3 touchdowns, 93 yards on only 13 carries. It's maybe questioning, are the Packers not willing to give Aaron Rodgers the ball in the red zone?
Well, I think it's just the game-to-game basis. I said earlier, today at school I was talking to someone and I was saying to them, Aaron Jones, I feel like he always gets like 3 touchdowns or he gets 0 touchdowns.
Yeah.
There's a game against the Cowboys where he went off. I think it was the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I don't know another game that he scored a touchdown. He probably has scored again, but that's just the only game that I remember him going off. But I think it's either like 3 for him or 0. And then And the games he scores 0, it's the games that Aaron Rodgers is going off.
Yeah, so maybe they're just they love not scoring on the same week,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and that's why I think the Packers are so dangerous because they have that really good defense, but then on any day it could be their running game or it could be their passing game.
Yeah, they got such a dual offense. They can really pick from a playbook what. Look at the other team's defense and pick out what they're worse at, pass defense or their rushing defense.
Yeah, and you referenced Aaron Rodgers playing like an MVP again. I think it was mainly because of the defenses he played. They played against the Lions, or they started out with the Cowboys, Lions, and then they went against the Raiders where he had that perfect passer rating. And then
that's the game I was talking about.
Yeah, and then they played the Chiefs. So that was and like we saw with the Chiefs, Ryan Tannehill went off against them. So I definitely believe that Aaron Rodgers could. So there was an easy stretch of games there. Then they played the Chargers, which was a little concerning for me that they only put up 11 against them when we saw the Raiders put up more than that against them.
Yeah.
So now he's getting to a stretch where he played the Chargers, then the Panthers. Now he's going to play the 49ers. So I think this game against the 49ers coming up is a big NFC matchup. I think this game this weekend is going to really
decide where the picture is going to go.
Yeah, what we're looking at here with the NFC playoff picture.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a little bit with our Week 11 preview.
Yeah, let's move on to 49er game. What a game last night. I mean,
it was crazy.
So many things to watch. You got the defense
Wilson
going off for the 49ers, and then you got Russell Wilson, who's looking like, in my opinion, leading the MVP race. And then you got a rookie kicker coming in, making 3 kicks in regular time, and then when the pressure matters, he's whiffing a kick.
Yeah, so
it's a crazy game.
For the 49ers, I think what really affected them kind of early was Emmanuel Sanders going out. You saw Bourne, number 84, wide receiver for the 49ers, dropped a couple balls.
Yeah, he did.
It was costly. One was in the red zone.
They also didn't have George Kittle, their main target on offense.
Yeah. So the second drop by Bourne was in the red zone. They would have put them first and goal at around the 5. The first one was he went right through his hands. He tipped it, and then it was picked by Quandre Diggs, returned inside the 20, and then and it was just poor pass catching by Bourne because they were on the move.
I would agree, but I also think, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's also week to week. You know, some weeks he comes up big for the 49ers when he needs them, but this week, I think
it's only been 1 week. 1 week.
Yeah,
against the Cardinals.
The Cardinals game, exactly.
One game. Other than that, he's played.
Because they haven't needed him to, because they got Nick Bosa and the defense just killing everybody. I mean, 24 for 46 is just unacceptable with 1 interception. You can't do that when you're trying to win a game against. When you got the other side of the ball, you got Russell Wilson going against you. You need to put up better numbers than that. And I saw many throws in the first. Once the Seahawks gave up the ball in the first overtime, and the 49ers got the ball the first time, Jimmy Garoppolo looked shook.
Yeah, I mean,
3 incomplete passes that aren't even close.
Yeah,
makes a bad pass that the guy tips. A pass that goes into the ground. He looked very, very off edge. I don't know what's going on there. They need him to step up if they want to go anywhere in the playoffs. I mean, they got a great defense. Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida aren't doing too bad on the running side. I mean, they're not doing great, but Jimmy Garoppolo is the one that's going to end up having to be the main offensive star if they want to go anywhere this year.
He's looking like a very mediocre quarterback right now. I was talking to my brother Danny about this last week. With average quarterbacks, put them on a team with no surrounding, they're not going to do anything. We were talking about how Russell Wilson's an MVP candidate. Take him off that team, put Jimmy Garoppolo in there. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I joked yesterday with one of my friends, Jimmy Garoppolo looks to the same level as Case Keenum on a week-to-week basis. And no hate to Case Keenum. I mean, he plays for the Redskins. He can't really do anything with the offensive players he's got over there, but you put Case Keenum on the 49ers, and we're looking at probably the same team right now.
Yeah, Jimmy G, overrated quarterback, overpaid quarterback,
I think it was that whole Tom Brady storyline thing. He's with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. His starting record is so good. I think all the media kind of gets to him because, I mean, maybe he might not think he's all that, but at the same time, his record shows that he should be a pretty good quarterback, but he just doesn't carry his offense.
His record doesn't show what kind of quarterback he really is, though, because like I said earlier, that surrounding piece. He's a great defense, like we said, led by Nick Bosa and that great defensive front. And then you have a great play caller in Kyle Shanahan who integrates all those great running backs that they have, including Tevin Coleman. And they don't have amazing wide receivers, but then you acquire Emmanuel Sanders. You have George Kittle in as a tight end. He should be able to get it done.
No, I think the Emmanuel Sanders acquiry was really good.
Yeah.
That was huge for them. I think they needed that.
Yeah. So that'll do it for Week 10. Now let's look ahead to Week 11, where we have some.
Yep. It's not a dry week, but it's not as exciting as last week. I think last week we had a lot of matchups to look forward to. Yeah. I think at 1:00 you look forward to Texans Ravens. I'm sure me and you will be watching that game for sure.
One thing that's really caught my eye by just looking at this for 2 seconds, the Redskins are favored in a game. They do play the Jets, but they are favored.
Let's go.
And I know they're at home, but they are favored. That's surprising.
I think that's going to be another 49ers-Redskins game. I know that game only went that way because of the field condition, but I can't see more than... I mean, what would you put as the over? Like, it's
10,
over under
10.
38.
There's going to be 3 field goals. 3 field goals.
You're going under, right? For sure.
What'd you say the
over-under is 38.
Oh, under.
I'm going under 100%.
The Redskins haven't scored a touchdown in like 9 quarters or something.
Both of their defenses are terrible, but...
So bad. The only thing that's hopeful for the Redskins is to get Terry McLaurin on a go. Just throw it up to him.
That's all they can do nowadays.
Oh my gosh. Whoever goes to that game, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Who wants to go see the Redskins and the Jets? I think the tickets should be like $0.
Tickets,
free.
Look,
they should be free.
It says on the website, tickets as low as $9.
They shouldn't even be that expensive.
$9.
It should cost $9 for me to get a snack. And I will watch from the front row for $9.
Jeez.
They're that bad. But let's stop talking about them.
Let's go.
They don't deserve our time.
More important
topics. Let's pick a couple of these games to preview. I think one of the most important games for me, besides that big matchup with the Texans and the Ravens, is going to be this Colts-Jaguars matchup.
Should be a good one.
Not even with the Jaguars. Even though Nick Foles will be returning, I think that'll be a big part of that game.
Is Jacoby Brissett going to return for that game?
They haven't said yet. But
it's going to be a big determining factor in that game.
Yeah, it will be. But I think this could be one of the biggest games of the season for the Colts. Because if they lose this game, they'll fall to 5-5. They might be out of playoff positioning at that point.
Yeah, after such a good start. I mean, T.Y.'s out a couple weeks, so it's going to be rough.
They're going to have to find a way to win games. I don't know what they're going to do, especially if Jacoby Brissett doesn't play, but they're going to need to find ways to win games, and it's going to need to start this week against the Nick Foles coming back led Jaguars and that great running game with Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, and this is a big win because, I mean, divisional opponent, you play them one more time after this next week.
Two more times. They'll play the Jaguars week 17 too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like after this week, they play them again.
Yeah.
But they have sort of a difficult. I mean, the Jaguars aren't a team to overlook. Definitely when you got your number one star T.Y. Hilton out for I think a couple more weeks. They got the Texans after the Jaguars. That's going to be a hard matchup. Then the Titans. Titans are a good team. Buccaneers, you never know what team you're going to get. Saints, good team. Panthers, good team. They got a hard schedule.
That's what I was saying with the Colts. So. They're going to need to figure out ways to win games. Let's just say they do get Jacoby Brissett back. They want to have their number one target and T.Y. Hilton back. That's why I think losing 2 straight to the Steelers and the Dolphins, that was big because they could have just played themselves right out of playoff positioning.
When you look at the beginning of the season, you're like, all right, those are 2 wins.
Yeah.
And now they turn into losses, and now you're thinking, well, now we have to win a couple more games that aren't as easy as the last 2 we just had. So.
Yeah, and let's just say the Jaguars with Nick Foles find a way to win this game. They have a pretty favorable schedule. After this week, they will play the Titans, but after that it gets much easier. They play the Bucs and the Chargers and the Raiders, Falcons, and close it out with the Colts.
Yeah, and I think they've already gone through the hard part of the schedule. They've already dealt with the gauntlet. They've already dealt with the hard games. They beat the Titans, which is a big win because the rest of the teams that they beat, I mean, Bengals, Jets, you can't really say too much about
Yeah.
how good they are. I mean,
They suffered 2 early losses to Chiefs and Texans, and then they lost to the Saints.
yeah.
But those are you expect to lose those games. You're not
So,
going in there to win.
Are you in favor of Gardner Minshew not being started instead of Nick Foles?
I don't think you can start him just yet. I think he's their future. Paid Nick Foles all this money to come in and win games. You can't just
Can't risk another injury.
after 8 games just go to Gardner Minshew. After you pay all this money to Nick Foles, I can't go there just yet.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's look at some more, a couple more Week 11 matchups. Let's go with that highly anticipated game with the Texans and Ravens.
Who do you think's gonna win, Jack?
I gotta go with the Ravens. Can't go against Lamar Jackson just yet. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think it will be a very good matchup. I think quarterback duel is going to be what ends up deciding it. I'm not too impressed with the Texans' defense. Obviously, they played pretty well throughout the season, but the Texans have got most of their wins by scoring very many points with Deshaun Watson. I mean, you see them lose to the Colts early in the season, 30-23. They're putting up 23 points.
Jacoby Brissett went off in that game though. He threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But their schedule is pretty difficult. They'll play the Ravens, like we said this week. Then later in the season, they'll play the Patriots and the Titans twice. They play the Titans twice, so they could very easily drop some games. Don't know where that would put them, but
yeah, Titans a hard matchup, but I think that Texans have got definitely a better team. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins needs to sort of wake up in a way. I mean, he's got 665 yards on the season. He's the number 1 wide receiver still, but we're usually looking at higher stats than that going into Week 11. Don't you agree?
yeah, I feel like we keep hyping up the Titans. I think it might just be because of this 1 week, but who knows? This could lead to bigger things for them.
I could see that, yeah.
So then on Sunday night, you got the Bears and the Rams.
Yeah, jeez. I mean, this is one of the games that you look at the schedule throughout the year, and if you're a Bears or Rams fan, you're going, this is going to be a good game.
At the beginning of the season.
That's what I'm saying. This is a good game.
Could be one of the greatest matches
But
of the
I'm looking
season.
at Sunday night and saying, geez, that's what I have Sunday night? Gosh, I don't really...
Who wants to watch this Rams offense that didn't even score a touchdown against the Steelers? They put up 3 offensive points. They had a safety and a defensive touchdown along with a field goal in that game.
I mean,
They looked atrocious.
What is Todd Gurley doing?
Cooper Kupp, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Couldn't do anything.
And this is against a Steelers team that has a backup quarterback in.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But Todd Gurley, 428 yards on the season. They did say that they were going to use him, I guess, in a load management situation, but he hasn't been playing very well.
I mean, if this is load management, like, you're not even using him at this point. I mean, he goes from one of the best running backs in the league, arguably one of the best running backs in the league last year, to somebody that's just not producing for their team. And I mean, Jared Goff has played terrible this whole year as well. So.
But do you think it's more Jared Goff or the plans that Sean McVay is putting together? Because I think some of this blame needs to go on Sean McVay too.
I agree. I mean, the league last year, everybody had eyes on Sean McVay and was like, this young coach, he's done a great job with the Rams.
He looked like he could go on
Super Bowl.
He looks like he could go on and be one of the greatest coaches of all time.
I know.
That's
and
how people are hyping him up to be.
He's got some spotlights on him and see how he performs under the pressure. I mean, if they can get themselves out of this hole, let's see what their schedule is the next couple weeks.
Well, so they're 5-4 right now. They lose a couple games down the stretch. I think they're done. If they lose this game, I think they're out.
I mean, we're only looking at a wild card at this point, right? They're not overtaking the 49ers or Seahawks. No.
So you got the Bears and the Ravens. Later in the season, they'll play. I think they have a very hard schedule. Two of those wins could be guaranteed wins. They played the Cardinals twice. But this Bears game's a toss-up. Then they'll play the Ravens, Seahawks, Cowboys, and 49ers. Those could all be losses.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta figure something out quick with this offensive situation because I'm telling you, if they don't figure it out this week, it's looking like a bad road at the end of the year, getting a terrible record at the end of the road.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. 8-8 season for the Rams, miss the playoffs. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
So now let's move into our fantasy league.
Okay, sounds good.
So, like we said earlier, 10-man league. 10-man league, PPR. Matthew, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the...
Yeah, so we're in a 10-man league, group of friends. I'll shout them out right now. Let's go team by team. I'll go from best to least. Starting off with Team Cupsidis, your boy.
All right, let's calm
He's
down.
looking-
Let's calm down.
7-3, top of his division. My division isn't too great, I'm not gonna lie. Me and Lavav are top of the division. Team Lavosky. You got Team Walsh, who's looking like he's on the come up at 6-4. Just beat.
Can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
This league, the people in this league, they hype up a different team every damn week.
Oh yeah, you go into the
Like,
group.
wait.
You go in the group chat, and whoever's dropping the most points is winning the league.
All right, yeah, I know. that might be the most true statement I've ever heard in my life. I put up 155 3 weeks ago. 3 people come up to me at lunch. Oh, yeah, Rothenberg's winning the league. If he doesn't put up 150 every week, like, his team's awful. All right, let me tell you this. My team, I don't think it's that good. Let me shout out my team right here. Matthew, you can tell your team after. So, my starting quarterback's Carson Wentz. Then we got Joe Mixon, who could be the biggest bust of this year.
That's a
He's
terrible
played
draft pick.
so bad. I could have drafted Dalvin Cook over him. Pretty upset about it. Then we got Chris Carson, Marlon Mack, so pretty good running back tandem.
Yep.
Then we got Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp. Devontae Adams was out for a good amount of games early in the season. And then a pretty big trade early in the season, I would say. I traded Austin Eckler basically for
It's
Zach
starting to look
Ertz.
like it was worth it. Starting.
Yeah, so Melvin Gordon has been getting some more playing time. So basically, I traded Austin Eckler in about week 3 for Zach Ertz. Don't know how that's going to pan. Like, it's panning out pretty well, but don't know.
Yeah.
We'll look back on it at the end of the season, see how it turned out. Then at my flex, we got Julian Edelman. Patriots defense has kind of been carrying my team, not going to lie. And then kicker, Zane Gonzalez. Pretty sick kicker, that's all I'm going to say.
So starting off in the year, pretty much the top 2 teams in the league are Team Moskowitz and
they're
Team
you and
Cupsidis.
Moscow, yeah.
I mean, it's looked like that from the beginning of the year, but I'll name my team really quickly. Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league.
All right, cap.
Dalvin Cook, Melvin Gordon, Mike Thomas. Who can guard Mike?
I can.
Nobody can guard Mike. DJ Moore, who's kind of average. Hunter Henry's, since his injury, has played very well for me at tight end.
That was a good pickup. I'll give you that.
For sure. Sammy Watkins, again, average. It's just for that combo with Patrick Mahomes. And then I got a shitty defense in Indianapolis. I don't really worry about the defensive position. Greg Zuerlein with the Rams, who I thought would have been very good, but as we've discussed, their offense has just been terrible. And then I got Kareem Hunt on the bench with James White, a couple other wide receivers that no one really cares about. But yeah, it's all in my starting lineup. I mean, if anybody gets injured, we're looking like a downward slide for my team.
So right now we got Moscow sitting at the top of the league at 9-1, pretty much locked up the 1 seed unless he loses out, which I don't think he will.
No.
So then you got Matt's team over here at 7-3, looking up. He's tied with Lavav, but he's ahead of him due to the points for. Lavav's team is it's okay. I wouldn't say it's amazing. His record's good, not gonna lie.
His record shows, but it's really because, I mean, he's got Amari Cooper, who's played, I would say,
Chark's been playing
every
well.
game he's played good. Yeah, DJ Chark was a big pickup for him.
Wait.
He has Le'Veon Bell at starting running back, and he hasn't done anything all year. I mean, he's got Aaron Rodgers, who's Odell Beckham at the wide receiver slot, who hasn't done anything all year. I mean, it's an average team on paper, but he gets it done. I gotta give it to him.
Somehow. You don't see much star power here. You see star power, not fantasy star power this year. I don't really know. I don't know if he's gonna have a glory run in the playoffs. We'll see. We'll have to see down the stretch. He does play Connor Koch this week, who needs to start winning some games if he wants to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Connor. This is a big week for Connor. I mean, last week he had the week with Connor Walsh, which whoever won that game was looking to take a playoff spot. And Connor Koch's team just did not perform. He had Darren Waller, who dropped maybe 7 points, who's been dropping like 20 points every week for him. And yeah, so we'll see with that game. I mean, and then to shout out the rest of the players in the league, we got Thave Zokes. Team is very mediocre. I would compare his team to Rothenberg's. But let's not get that started.
All right,
and then you got, and then you wait, listen, and then you got Ben Block, whose team is somehow dropping 130 plus every week, but he just keeps coming against the best team in that week.
Finds a way to lose.
He's 0-10. He's 0-10.
That's hard. That's hard to do.
This week.
That's
it is hard to do. But he's on the come up. I believe he'll beat Team Samir, which Team Samir is the other team that's just terrible in our league. Two terrible teams. You got Ben and then you got Samir. But Samir beat Ben in the matchup they had earlier in the year. So what do you think? What do you think about that matchup coming in the consolation bracket? Who's gonna get the punishment at the end of the year?
I think I gotta go with Samir.
I would have to agree. I mean, look at Ben's team the last couple of weeks.
I'm gonna walk you through a scenario real quick. Get to the playoff bracket. They both won't make it. They face off in the toilet bowl finals. I'm gonna call it.
Okay. Toilet bowl finals.
Because they're both trash. That's all I'm gonna say.
I like that.
Samir's team has the week of their lives. David Johnson goes off. Juju Smith-Schuster goes off.
Okay.
Finds a way to beat Ben, and he goes 0-14.
That's a hot take. I would consider that a hot take. I mean, I really can't see Ben's team losing. I mean, Samir will probably start somebody that's not playing that week. I mean,
yeah,
it's not unlikely that he starts someone that's injured.
Who would you rather throw eggs at, Samir or Ben?
Oh, 100% Samir. I've already told him I want to throw eggs at him. So that's what we're hoping for. We'll see how that works out. And then we forgot one member, Thomas. What are you doing? I don't know what he's doing. Do you know what he's doing?
His team puts up 160 and then 90. He lost, for the record, he lost to Samir in week 10. That's who Samir beat. That's how he got a second win.
I mean, jeez. I don't know what he's doing. First week, he took a very bad loss to Matthew Kapsidis' team. It was 189 to 73 or something. He got embarrassed from week 1, but then he turned it around. He won 5 games straight. He went 5-1, and now what is he at now? He's back down to his own way. 5-5. Lost 4 straight. He went 5 straight, and then now he's lost 4 straight. So the league's looking pretty good. Let's look at the playoff.
Yeah, wait. Before we do that, real quick, Matthew, I just have a question for you.
Sure.
What happened week 6?
All right, so this kid wants to bring up when he beat me in week 6.
Week 6, Let's go to week 6. Week 6, I beat Matthew 127.7 to 96.7. He wants to say that his team is better than mine.
Hold on. Let's look at the facts.
When he faced off against my team, he couldn't even put up 100.
Let's look at the facts. He's holding on to 1 game when I have a better record than him. First of all, let's look at the scoreboard that week. Let's see how my players did. Okay. This is the week that it was okay. First game back for Melvin Gordon, 7.8. That's on me. I shouldn't have started.
Yeah, that is on you.
Listen, Jimmy Graham, 3.7 at the tight end position. This is when Hunter Henry's first week back comes back, drops 30 points. Again, that's on me. First week back, are we thinking that he's going to drop any points? First week back?
I mean, that's just a bad owner move right there. That's like Dan. You're like Dan Snyder. It's Dan Snyder move.
And then we got our kicker, Greg Zuerlein, who gets 1 extra point. 1 extra point.
I mean, yeah, you got to see
that
coming.
They scored 7 points.
You got to see that coming. Good 49ers defense. Can't play a kicker.
I mean, we'll keep you on the lookout. I'm not really worried about Jack's team in the playoffs. I mean, if I come up against them, it's an easy W. If not, he probably lost the week before.
All right, that's some cap real quick. But
anyways, let's get into the playoff bracket situation. So right now, Moscow's got the number 1 seed, as Jack said, with a bye. It's looking like that's not going to change.
Pretty much unlocked.
The next couple weeks, me and Lavav are going to have to go at it. It's set. We're both 7-3. I have the bye right now because of points 4, as Jack said, and my schedule's not looking too hard the next couple weeks. So I think I'm gonna get that matchup. Do we know who Lavav plays the next couple weeks?
No, I don't. But something else I want to talk about.
Okay.
Thomas Jezik plays Connor Koch this week.
Okay.
There's 3 teams I think bidding for this 6th seed. Me and Connor Walsh are both sitting at 6-4. We have the 4 and 5 seed. And then Thomas is at 5-5. He's a 6 seed. So 6 teams are going to make the playoffs out of the 10. So then you got Fave and Connor both sitting at 4 and 6. Connor is playing Thomas this week. That could be a swing game right there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Connor can find a win, I mean, Thomas is looking in a really bad situation as he will drop to 5 and 6, and so Connor will move up to 5 and 6. And I think Connor has the points for right now in the league. So it's looking like a must win for Thomas. I think if Thomas wins that game, all he has to worry about now is Thave in the bracket, and we're looking at a easy.
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. Thomas plays Thave this week.
Okay, so Thomas plays Thave. Same situation. I mean, if he beats Thave, then he's looking at Connor as his only threat for the rest of the next 5-6 weeks. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad. I know that I'm going to make the playoffs at least. I would like to get the second seed so I can get a bye and be able to chill out for a week, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, so I got another question for you about this upcoming week. You play Samir.
Sure.
Pretty much guaranteed dub.
It's guaranteed. Not pretty much. It's guaranteed.
I'm going to put it this way. If you were to look on ESPN, and when a game's happening on ESPN, you look at the score, they give you percentages like probability to win.
Okay.
It's at 99.9 right now. Samir's team is that bad that you can just come in, it's a win.
I mean, if we're looking at my roster, I could start Jared Goff this week and beat him. I don't need to start Patrick Mahomes.
No.
I mean, right now I'm projected 140.4, and he's projected 97.3.
Is it over under 100 points? Solid question. Will Samir get over 100 points?
I'm gonna say under.
Tough question.
I'm really gonna say under.
Who's David Johnson play this week?
Because if George Kittle doesn't play this week,
that's a big loss for Samir. That's his guy.
If George Kittle plays, we're looking at maybe a different question. But yeah, I know it's a win. I'm not really worried. Fantasy's going good. How do you feel about your playoff situation right now?
I suffered a tough loss to Moscow last week. I don't have that hard of a schedule. I play Ben this week, then I'll play Samir, and then finish it up with Connor Walsh. That'll be a big game in week 13. But as long as I can pull off the win this week, I won't be that worried. I think I just need to win one out of these last 3 weeks to clinch a playoff spot, which is what I'm hoping for. I would actually be fine getting the 6th seed because then I wouldn't have to play Moscow in the second round. I would play Matthew, whose team is trash, by the way.
Oh, okay. And by the way, Moscow is 9-1. That one we see on the screen is from your boy, Matthew Kapsidis.
Wait, can I just...
So, hold on. Let me finish my thought.
Then I gotta
if I can beat the best team in the league, then what does that mean? I am the best team in the league.
Just let the record show Christian McCaffrey was on bye that week.
Listen. We can throw out excuses, but all I'm saying is his only loss is to me. So.
All right, yeah, I am getting to sound a little bit like Connor Walsh talking about the refs against the Saints.
Yeah, jeez. Loss.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm throwing this in there about the Saints too. They only beat the Redskins because Monday Night Football last year.
It was rigged. How are you gonna have a record be broke and the NFL be in the building and it not be rigged? Please explain to me that, Connor.
Screwed up. That's all I gotta say. Rigged from the beginning. So now that we talked about fantasy a little bit.
This is one of those players that is kind of like when we brought in Brooks Orpik. Brooks Orpik played for the Penguins for a good number of years, and he was one of those players that, you would be watching and being like, that guy's dirty. But when he comes on your team, you just like him. Yeah, he's a guy to like. It's kind of like Tom Wilson. I think every other team in the league hates Tom Wilson, but we love him.
Yeah.
We absolutely love him. So, yeah, I'm glad we got Gudis. I mean, John Carlson's off to a hot start. The guy's looking like he's... I don't know. It's looking like a couple summers ago when we were questioning how much money and years they gave him.
Yeah, glad he stayed.
Yeah, it's looking like it was worth it. I mean, Ovi, the usual goal-scoring machine he is. I mean, we're looking at 13 wins, 2 losses, and 4 of the losses we have is overtime losses.
Getting a lot of points there.
I mean, I can't see something to be mad about. I mean, the only question is, Holtby has been looking like he's kind of in a slump right now. I mean, the record doesn't show it, but Samsonov, when he's come in, I think has been more than enough if we want to think about signing Holtby.
I mean, the ceiling for this team has got to be Stanley Cup final again, right?
No, for sure. I think right now they're putting up standards. I mean, you look at the NHL power rankings every week, and it's usually Bruins 1, Caps 1, or Bruins 2.
Some kind of variation.
Yeah, one of the variations of that. So I think the team's looking good. I hope no one gets injured. That's the main thing. Knock on wood. I mean, injuries kind of killed us last year. I think that injury to Kempny hurt us more than we expected in the playoffs. I mean, I think if we have Kempny in that playoff series, you never know which way it goes in Game 7. And then you look at the rest of the road on that Stanley Cup run. I mean, who had St. Louis winning the Stanley Cup? I mean, we saw that Bruins maybe had a chance, but I don't think anybody else expected either of those teams to be in. So, yeah, I think that we're off to a good start. Obviously, it's early in the season. They play 82 games. We can't really say that they're going to win the Stanley Cup yet, but I think that's definitely the goal. I mean, it's obviously the goal for every team, but I think it's actually reasonable this year for the Caps to take it all. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see the rest of the season after the Redskins lose their last game, Week 16. I'll be able to
be a great
put my focus on the Wizards and Caps. I mean, Wizards aren't looking too good, but
the Wizards suck. We shouldn't be paying attention to them.
Yeah,
Only
exactly.
Caps. Only
I agree.
Caps. So that's gonna do it for
first episode.
Yeah, next Man Up podcast. This is fun.
I think it was. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know what you thought. Any questions or
topics you want us to discuss, just let us know. And
we'll see you later.